I have good news. Little Debbie's actually not dead. She's still alive.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's good.
And she's the current executive vice president of McKee Foods, the company that makes Little Debbie snacks.
Is she, like, pretty old? It's like, what was the context? I need the context. You know, it's always fun.
You don't need context. Just accept
That's
it and
fine.
move on with your life.
It's really funny. My daughter just snuck by where people can't see. It's really funny to watch them sneak.
Who did?
Oh, man.
The
Oh, my
Chillins?
daughter.
Who was talking about comfort food?
Well, you know, Little Debbie.
Pouty.
He knows who I am, but we know who he is. Yes. Is this a fan channel? Yeah, he's not been on here, if that's what you're asking. Andy on the internet. Yeah. Bill answered it much better than I did. That's why it's tapping, is because it's on the wood part.
What about Rhythm of War?
Yes, Rhythm of War? I guess just yes.
Ah.
Oh, wow. No, we didn't put him in timeout. He put himself there if it happened. Well, you didn't beat it into submission, right?
Could be a sign of the uprising. All right, I'm now seeing my line go up, which is a good sign.
Well, it's always encouraging.
Chat. Can you hear me?
Can you hear Jordan? He needs to know.
I will not have a repeat of episode 3, 4.
I think it was 3.
Awesome. Thanks, Libralita. Andy on the internet. That is one heck of a name.
I'm reading your little notes on the left there, Jordan, and I like them.
I think you like one of them more than others.
I do. One of them is my favorite.
I have a sneaking suspicion.
Yes.
All right, let's see.
It's the one about so freaking huge, isn't it?
Well, that too, you know.
Okay, I'll need to redo that one. Unlock it. And there we go.
Goodness. Oh, Kami's was it because it was so depressing? Is that why you weren't a big fan? Because
he and I had a big discussion on it. He's kind of done with the Sadness Kaladin arc.
Yeah.
It's not like the Venli chapters were very good either, and
that one's just it's a rough book, and like yeah, because Josh is getting ready to read Wind and Truth finally, and he is watching summaries of Rhythm of War because he's like I don't know that I can make it through that.
That is the benefit of how Kami's doing it is he
just
shotgunning. Although I have recommended to him he take a break and go to Mistborn Era 2. And not because I don't have ulterior motive of getting him to read Mistborn Secret War.
Secret Hero.
Oh, the villains are just too clever. Oh, yeah.
Secret History.
Far, far too convenient.
Not Secret War.
Yeah, well, I'm also ready for Secret War as well. But no, the...
Is my typing really loud or no?
Yeah, it's really loud.
Dang it, okay.
Do you have a mechanical keyboard?
/ junior high friends is like talking to me on Discord, and I'm like, dang it, this is not great timing, but I don't want to not talk. So.
And I recommend you buy me 20 ribeye steaks. Boom. Uno reverse card. All right, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm good.
All right, Amy, I've got a pun for you.
Do
you want to hear it?
Sure.
Oh, you didn't respond properly. Never mind. You're supposed to say, what is it?
Oh, what is it?
No, it's too late.
I don't get where this is going. What was going on?
She was supposed to say, what is it? And I say, it's like a joke where you play with words.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No. I saw it online. I thought it was clever. I tried to play it off and it
didn't. I'm sorry. I'm not great with always bouncing stuff off, unfortunately.
Hang on. Let's see.
What are we seeing?
I'm just checking something.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. But I wasn't the one who made the pun.
Obviously, it's still your fault, right?
No, we don't believe in vicarious fines. I especially don't.
Okay. We ready?
I am.
Mm-hmm. All right, starting. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, where there's always another secret.
Welcome back, Sixers, to another episode of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. This is episode 179. Today is January 13th, 2025. That's right, it's a different year. I'm Bill, and I am joined, as always, by my convergent co-hosts, Amy and Jordan. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, before we get started, we want to remind you that the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is not a spoiler-free podcast. That means that if there is something in the Cosmere you haven't read and you're worried about hearing spoilers, you might want to go read those first, then come back and join the discussion. Tonight, that probably won't be an issue because we'll finally be giving our post-mortem of our trip to Dragonsteel Nexus this past December. But there could still be an occasional reference to the Cosmere story stuff. But as a whole, tonight should probably mostly be safe.
Yeah.
We may even let Kami stay in chat.
Yeah.
For those of you who listen to the podcast recordings or watch the videos on YouTube, we'd like to remind you that it's possible for our listeners to interact with us live via chat as we record each episode at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. We record episodes every other Monday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So please join us and take an active part of the discussion. Oh goodness.
How you feeling?
I am tired. I am incredibly tired.
When'd you get home last night?
About 10 o'clock.
After
spending a week on a Caribbean cruise ship in luxury.
This is where everyone's playing their smallest violins.
Indeed. I'm just tired, okay? You asked.
I know. It's called a trap question.
It's called a setup.
No. I'm not used to seeing you around here anymore between Christmas and this vacation.
My gosh, I feel like I haven't been home forever.
You've been here like 1 week the past 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway.
Sorry, I'm stalling for time because I realized I didn't check something.
Well. So I'm gonna skip ahead to my portion then.
Okay.
Where I give the update on our progress. We are at 3249 hours viewed. So we want to thank everyone who's been catching up over the weekend and such. We are looking forward to, as we start to cover more of Wind and Truth. There's already been some insane speculations online. I love going to the Cosmere subreddit. It's just WAT spoilers, WAT spoilers, WAT spoilers.
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah.
And an occasional art project. No, there's everyone's speculating. I mean, as they should be, given book 5 just dropped.
So much lore. Yeah.
So speculative. So
did I buy enough time?
Sure.
Yes.
Anyway, the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is made possible by the support of our listeners and patrons. The show will, of course, continue to be free, but if you want to help us out, head over to patreon.com/Cosmere Studies. Even pledging $1 or $2 per episode really helps us out as we work to improve the show. Patrons get immediate access to our Discord channel where you can talk about the show and the Cosmere with other listeners. It's a great community with a lot of great discussions. We've got some fun ones going on, speculation, all sorts of who knows what in the world is going on right now in the Cosmere after Wind and Truth was released. You'll also get access to bonus episodes, exclusive access to other bonus content, and other good stuff. We have a new patron. I don't think that we actually thanked them previously because they joined back in December, but I want to thank, what was it? I had it.
We have, there was one on the 17th.
Was it Birdie 57?
59.
59, Birdie 59. So thank you.
You don't want to shortchange you too.
Yeah, you got to get those last 2 numbers in there.
Those last 2 birdies.
I'm trying so hard.
Doing great, Bill.
But anyway, patrons, thank you so much.
Wait a
Y'all are
minute.
amazing. Wait a minute, what?
Well, she's using my lines now.
Yeah, well.
I'm just in upside down world, that's all.
We've hung out a little bit too much lately.
All my family in Texas are having fun playing in snow. I'm up here in Utah, snowless. We're all just in upside down time.
Topsy-turvy.
I don't know what to do with anything.
Yeah, it was down in like really, really cold, even in Arizona this last weekend where my family was.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
very
how have y'all
topsy-turvy
been?
Then. Pretty good. Just kind of getting back into the groove because his kids went back to school this week.
Okay.
Or last week. Yeah. Yeah.
Working.
Week.
Finding out more Warhammer lore as I process items.
Of course. That's right. You've been listening to just like old school Warhammer lore, haven't you?
It's the easiest thing to go to bed to because it's enough that I'll pay attention that I won't think about going to sleep, but I'm not so invested that that I won't fall asleep, which was the problem when I started listening to Brandon books.
Yeah, that's why I watch Frasier as I go to sleep, because I've seen it so many times, but I find it amusing. So it's interesting enough to hold my attention, but not enough to keep me awake.
I just need to stop the thinking in the head long enough to go to sleep.
Where would you prefer to do your thinking?
I don't know. Toilet? What's the answer here?
I don't know. You just said thinking in the head, and I was just...
I prefer to think with my stomach.
I just go to sleep.
I'm just wondering what other sorts of thinking there is.
The best kind. Don't think about it. Wait a second.
Anyway.
Well, on that note, let's move on into the Cosmere Thing of the Week. Jordan, you're the one who brought the Cosmere Thing of the Week to us today, so...
Yes, I found this on the Cosmere subreddit, one of the aforementioned, the thing that doesn't say WAT spoilers on it. This was, oh shoot, I forgot to write down who wrote it, if you guys could.
It was posted by Benno de Groot, or Grote,
Yes.
But it was actually painted by his girlfriend.
Yeah, so if you're looking at it, you're like, that's a weird looking pizza. It's not a pizza. It's a Mistborn clocks his girlfriend made for him. My favorite comment being the person who said, what time is it? And it's like, it's about a 10 past pewter.
I don't know why, but I want the phrase, it's not a pizza on a t-shirt.
I mean, it'd be 100% true. No one could sue you for lies.
It's like "Ceci n'est pas une pipe," but
What?
It's a classic piece of art. It's a picture of a pipe, and it says in French cursive underneath, "Ceci n'est pas une pipe," which means this is not a pipe, because it's a picture of a pipe.
Oh,
it's a classic piece of art. So.
I have not heard of this. Okay, but yeah,
people have parodied it and stuff. So,
but no, this is. I just thought it was just really cool looking, and of course, I would never know what to say, what time it is, because I would just start going 1, 2, 3. But it's more about the feeling of what time it is. It's Cosmere clock.
It's fine.
But yeah, I just thought it was really cool. So great job by his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, girlfriend of Benno de Grote, Grotto. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Let's see now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving into Sanderson news, there is none. Brandon is kind of in recovery mode after his own.
Oh, there's actually a bit of news.
Which bit of news?
So, apparently the Dragonsteel store is going to have starting at 11 a.m. tomorrow on the 14th. They're going to sell some more of the swag.
That's right. They'll start putting the swag from the con up on their website.
So I'm hoping that I can maybe get another pack of cards or two. That's all I'm hoping for. But
hopefully the packs that they're selling will actually be a little bit more randomized and have some of the higher numbers.
That's all I need. I need like the last 3 heralds, and it'd be nice if I could get like one more bigger number. Yasna, it's like Yasna 53, because I have it in shiny, and the rest of them aren't shiny. But
I'm missing two or three story cards, and I don't care whether they're shiny or not.
So
we'll be discussing about more of those later.
Yes.
Yeah, remind me later, Bill. I have a bunch of extras.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that other than that, they've been fairly quiet lately.
Mm-hmm. So, which I don't blame them. It was busy.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start chattering again. As people are returning from Christmas vacations, etc.
And they're probably shipping out a bunch of stuff.
Well, and Brandon's probably kind of head down right now working on Mistborn Era 3. So
I'm going to make Amy noises.
It's great.
Jordan Squeeze. I didn't have Jordan Squeeze on my bingo card today.
Notice I just say I'm going to do it. I don't actually do it because I don't know how to make those noises. So
just got to get your falsetto going.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I can laugh.
You know what? So let's move on into the main discussion then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Dragonsteel Nexus 2024. This was the first time that it actually went by the name Dragonsteel Nexus. Before that, it has just been Dragonsteel, which gets very confusing when that's also the name of the company.
Yeah.
The first year we had Dragonsteel Minicon, which, that worked. But the next year it was clearly no longer a Minicon.
I just liked Minicon just because it was one of those things where it's like it already implies that we're planning on making it bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure, I have no real outline for how we're going to go about tonight. So let's just sort of start with initial impressions. what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you're looking back at it?
I felt like I broke the rules a lot, even though I really didn't technically.
What?
Because I
Amy's
had
a rebel.
Just
I am actually in Rebel Legion, yes. But no, so I had Steve, the Cosmere not sell some of my stuff, but that meant I brought things on Wednesday, but I didn't have a exhibitor badge. So I kept having to ask the poor staff and be like, can I go back there? I promise I don't have but it's fine. And so like I had several interactions where I felt so like shifty doing that, even though I was like, I promise I'm not being bad. And so like that was my weird thing, but otherwise it was great.
No, it was very interesting because every other Dragonsteel, of course, we've had a booth. And so this was the first time.
Yeah.
First time we just got to attend, and I really kind of liked just being able to attend.
I was very torn about that just because this year the booth game was so much more organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have been part of that. But at the same time, it was so much fun actually going around and taking part as an attendee.
Yeah, I felt kind of like I was drifting through the con a little bit more, because usually the other con I attend is FanX, and that one I have someone I'm usually with most of the time. So this time I was flying solo a lot, and that is always kind of weird for me. So
especially when you were Utaniing.
Yeah. Well, I did have I ran into some 501st friends, and it was two ladies and a guy, and they like hung out for me and kind of pseudo handled for me. So I had them with me for a little bit just to kind of make sure that I didn't get ran onto and people weren't making, because I have blinders.
Give us sort of a retrospective on your cosplaying over the course of the con.
For the 3 days. So the first day I did my Dustbringer, and I had a couple people not be sure who I was, which is fine. I was just a generic Dustbringer.
Yeah.
And I had one person ask if I was Vin, and I was like, this is my Vin wig, but no, I'm not. And then I'd show my back, and they're like, oh, okay, I know what you are now. And I did the cosplay showcase for the first time. So that was really fun. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a reason that it's like a 2-hour block, is because there's a lot of cosplays.
Yes.
And they were smart in that they gave you a little piece of paper so you could write down your name and like what your costume is, where you're from, like what world you're from, and then like a little blurb that you can have them read for you. And it was,
didn't they, like, it wasn't exclusively, but like they kind of would group.
They tried to, so they did. Yeah, they were like
bounce back and forth, so it wasn't like all of Roshar was at the same time.
No, actually, so on Thursday at least, I didn't end up going Saturday because my schedule didn't work with it. But on Thursday they did have like all of the Rosharan ones, and then they had, but world hoppers were allowed to go whenever. They're like, if you're a world hopper, pop in when you want, and then they would go through the different worlds. Okay. So they did that. But it was really fun. I felt kind of sad. It kind of hurt. There were two different ladies announcing it, like saying like, this is so-and-so from Scadrial and blah, 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 blah. And they're this character. And some of them didn't know how to say the characters' names. And so that hurt a little bit. And no shade to them, because there's a lot of names that pronunciations are hard, but
Brandon doesn't know how to pronounce all of his characters.
It's just weird that way. And I think because we do a podcast and so we verbalize their names versus other people only write their names, that they don't know how to do it the same way. So that was, I mean, I don't blame them.
It's an advantage.
It's an advantage. Yeah, it's hard that way. But that was really fun. I'm doing that. Lots of people liked my costume with that one. I felt pretty hardcore in it. I wish I'd had a shard blade. I did end up holding Oathbringer, and that thing was really, really heavy. The one at Hoyd's Museum, I held it as my Dustbringer.
Nice.
And I had to have the guy who was working the booth help me get it off my shoulder, because I could not get it off my shoulder and not
like
risk
the really shiny one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would have been.
That thing was like 30 pounds, maybe. It was chunky. And then let's see. So that was Thursday. So that was really fun. I made the mistake. I wore like 3-inch heels. Don't do that. It's a bad life choice. And then Friday,
that's what I've been doing wrong.
I was my world hopping Jawa, and like I'd also like say I was the bridge. People were like, "Oh, it's Bridge 4," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do Bridge 4. I've got a spear. It's fine." But yeah, I was a Jawa running around, and I had people like double take me several times and be like, that's a Jawa? And I'm like, Houdini and stuff. And
well, you had your voice box and everything.
Yeah, so I could make the noises at you. And like my glove is never as responsive as I want it to be though, which is unfortunate. But I had some people, I would just talk to people too. And people were like, well, how are you? You know, and I'm like, oh, well, I met these really nice, I got lost in this weird area and I met these really nice people called Southern Scadrians and they gave me this coin. And so I made up a story for how I could talk.
A long time ago in a dwarf galaxy far, far away.
It's fine, just really lost. But it's just fine. I took pictures with a bunch of Kaladins. I took pictures, just like, I had lots of people take my picture, and it was kind of funny. I actually did sewing for myself, like hand sewing at the con for myself and all three of the people who were with the Star Wars group.
And for Bill.
And for Bill. What did I sew for you again? Oh, that's right. I sewed
Jello.
No, I just brought a pin.
No,
I just brought a...
Yeah, it was just a pin.
Yeah, I didn't sew anything. I just brought a safety pin for him.
It was appreciated, though.
Yeah, no.
Even though I didn't end up using it.
And if you want the magnet thing later, I'm totally willing to do it. But no, so that I did my Jawa, and I ended up like, my friends were going to the World Hopper Ball that night. And so I ended up like scooting along, really trying to get to them as my Jawa to go do some hand sewing to put a button back on somebody's jacket.
Metal Gear.
And I had
Jawa.
like 3 or 4 people stop me because it's in this long hallway and there's like an L shape. And I'm like trying to inch along and can I have a picture? Can I have a picture? And I'm like, okay, do the pose. Okay, move a foot. Okay, yeah, take the picture. Okay, yeah. And they could see me from down the hall. And I thought it was hilarious that I was getting stopped that much.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, I recognized you far easier as the Jawa than I did when you were in your Dustbringer, because the Vinwig is so like good that I just don't know. Like I don't see you until like you have to turn like exactly at me where I can see like your face framed.
Mm-hmm. It's a very nice Arta black wig. I like that wig. And yeah, anyway, you were saying Bill.
And Jawas like Tiggers, you're the only one.
I'm the only one. Yeah, so that's it was really fun being a Jawa because I got noticed for sure. And then let's see, on Saturday, I was a very confusing costume as well because I was Shallan, but I was wearing Vale's clothes. So people will be like, "Are you? Oh, okay, you're Shallan," and they catch on after a second. And I think I had one person ask if I was Era 2 Mistborn, and I was like, actually, no, I'm Vale Shallan. And they're like, "Oh, okay." It just, you just have to see the wig and the coat and the hat, and then it clicks. But that one was really fun to do too. Like, and I managed to wear colored contacts for the first time in a long time, so that wasn't too bad. But no, it was fun to be here, and it was pretty comfortable. The boots weren't as giant and terrible. Mm-hmm. So it was just really fun. I mean, there were lots of good costumes. I got to do like the Spider-Man pose with the veil, which was fun.
Spider-Man pose.
Like the Spider-Man, like, hey, the pointing thing. We're just like, oh, it's you. But thank you. I'm glad I'm popular, even though I don't feel like it normally, but it's okay.
That would actually be kind of awesome to have a Shallan, a Veil, and a Radiant do that pose.
Mm-hmm. There weren't too many Radiants. I feel like I may have seen maybe one. But yeah, I would love to do that with someone with like other Shallans and stuff. I'd totally be game for that.
Well, a lot of people recognized Bill in his cosplay too.
Yes, they did. I was Brandon.
No, you weren't. You were specifically not Brandon.
You were not Brandon Sanderson.
Okay, on Friday I was Brandon. On Thursday and Saturday I was not Brandon Sanderson. So
I did think it was there. One quick thing, I did think it was funny that you were dressed up as not Brandon Sanderson, and someone, like, one of the things for the World Hopper passport was to take a picture with somebody in cosplay, and they asked you for a picture, and I'm sitting in there as Shallan or whatever, and I'm like, really?
Hey.
It's just kind of funny. I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyway,
what if I chopped liver?
It was seriously the easiest cosplay. Like, it was a true closet cosplay because I just wore my regular outfit and then threw on a blazer, and then I got a stuffed parrot.
I was gonna say we're just ignoring Jello's work here.
Jello was actually quite popular. People were amused by my stuffed Jello. For those who aren't aware, Magellan is the name of Brandon's
Parrot.
Is it parrot? Macaw? I'm not
Macaw.
sure.
Macaws are
chicken.
parrots. Not all parrots are macaws, but yeah.
Brandon's chicken.
Correct.
And they shorten it to Jello sometimes, and so
Magellan, Jello.
But I had a few pictures with people. Typically, I try and go into the Bing pose, and it went well. I actually saw several Brandons this year, though.
And I think that was there in the cosplay photo meetup thing on Saturday. I think there was supposedly a Brandon Sanderson meetup.
I wish I'd known. I didn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have told you. I didn't see it until later, and I was like, I'm not that because I didn't dress up as him.
No, but that was that'd be fun to do the Spider-Man pose as well.
Oh yes, I'm sure somebody did it there.
So
what if Brandon showed up to that?
That would be amazing.
It would be even better if somebody didn't realize it was actually him and we're like, oh man, you really need to work on this. And then I've heard of that happening to like Dolly Parton and other people, like other celebrities have gone to lookalike contests and they haven't won when it's them.
That's a great Zuko costume, but your scar's on the wrong side.
Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love it.
But the thing about the cosplay contest is I love the creativity of the community because it's not just, oh, here we are as a, just random person. My favorite was the person who showed up as Mistborn Barbie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't it was just the showcases. There was no contest, which is just fine.
Or yeah, that's what I meant.
Adds extra tension and stuff. No, that's fine. But no, the Mistborn Barbie, it was like a pink mist cloak and I was like, oh my goodness, I love it.
Yeah, that reminds me of, was it last year or the year before that the 80s Mistborn showed up? Because
they were here this year as well. I saw.
Yeah. I didn't see them. I was looking for them.
I know I think it was last year as well. It may have been 2 years ago. I'm not positive.
Because Era 3 is supposed to be sort of a 1980s level of technology, they're like, oh, I'm going to be a 1980s Mistborn. And they came with like the
bright
strips
neon.
are made of like bright neon and acid wash jeans.
Oh, I think there was also somebody who did one that was acid washed jean material and they had like mist cloaks. So there were like the bright one as well as that one. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. It's so great.
It was great. There were some really creative ones.
Well, and then you got the guy who had the full working shard plate, the awakened shard plate, where, I mean, it was hard to look at. Like they got bright enough LEDs where, like, 'cause it says that in the book where, people shield their eyes and stuff. And he's got a full Care Bear stare going on. And it just looked good.
Of him every day. It was great. I was like, yes, I will take pictures.
I think my very favorite one though was the Breeze and Alrienne.
They were good.
It was like, oh, this isn't someone cosplaying. This looks like the actual characters stepped out of the pages. Like, I would even say those costumes were higher quality than the ones that I've seen pictures of for the World Hopper Ball. Like it was just absolutely stunning work. So,
which that was something that that would have been cool to be able to attend, and just not going to be able to afford that.
Yeah, it was pricey.
But I like that they're doing events like that. That they're these boutique experiences that you throw together, and look, nerds, we don't have a lot of excuses to dress up for things sometimes. So for people who like that,
depending on what they theme it for next year, I may see if I can try and go just because I want to go. Because I felt serious FOMO not going this year, and I knew I would, but I just couldn't swing it, and I was like, nah, I'm not even gonna try because it's too much.
I heard that the first night there were several snags that they ran into.
Yeah, there were some hiccups the first night. Apparently,
they streamlined it over the course of the rest of the con.
Which again, they never did this before, so
figuring out what they're doing. Yeah.
Speaking of, the fire alarm going off during Brandon's keynote address.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that.
And Brandon's looking around like, "We good?
I'm sure they'll come and take me off the stage if we need to go somewhere."
As long as you all need to run.
Yeah. I'm sure if it's a problem, they'll take me away first.
Oh Oh man.
He understands what the convention is.
Yeah.
But I love that people kept poking at me like, no, it's fine. It's just this. We're good. We're good. It's like, okay.
Apparently
cool.
there was some fire in like the cafeteria.
In the kitchen. I think it was,
yeah.
In the kitchen they handled it or whatever. But it's just like, oh my goodness.
But everyone's just looking around nervously like, we're not all going to die here, right?
I don't want to stampede. No, thank you.
Okay, so a little bit ago, I mentioned, and we've mentioned it a few other times. I mentioned the con game. So do one of y'all want to kind of give an overview of what that was?
Yeah. So the past years they've had con games where go spot this thing. They'll have some things at booth. One year we had a fun thing where they had these barcodes or QR codes you had to scan with your phone. And we had one at our booth. And
right?
yeah, that's right. I was like trying to remember what that was for, but yeah.
And there are two, there usually have been two con games. There's like a more interactive one and then a go find the hidden things.
Yeah.
And they incorporated the find the hidden things into the larger con game.
Yeah. So if you got your ticket, it was like the week before, I believe, you got your passport. It was like the Silverlight Mercantile passport.
Mm-hmm.
Did either one of you have that?
It was just
I really should have had
Do you
that.
want me to grab mine?
Yeah,
I know where mine is.
If you know where
It's
yours is,
over
go
there.
grab it,
Yeah.
But no, and so they had all these spots for different stamps, and they were simple things like, some of them were just like, go attend in this room, like
go
4
attend
times.
a panel in this room. Yeah.
Yeah, and they would just had the staff there with stamps.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd simply stamp for you. But they had other fun stuff like in the game room area where they had like complete 2 out of the 5. Yeah, perfect.
So like,
now it did create a lot of confusion because there were some of them that was a little unclear.
Yes.
And but the way of fans, the information got crowdsourced out pretty quickly.
Yes.
Because people are just really good at figuring that stuff out.
Yeah, but basically, there were a lot of different ways to get stamps. Like you get a stamp in your passport when you travel to different areas. They treated it like you're a world hopper and you're visiting these different worlds within the Cosmere.
Yeah, it was very clever.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I really liked is it gave you a map in it too.
Oh, yeah.
So you could just reference your map instead of having to be like pull it up on your phone and try and figure out where stuff is, because they have the rooms named by the different worlds. So when you say Roshar, you don't automatically go, okay, it's in Hall 1.
Right.
And they didn't open Lumar until like day 2 because they like split it off from stuff. And then,
well, the thing that was really cool about it is it was a way of incorporating, like they took the standard convention program and they put it into this really, really high production value part of the con game.
It's nice. It's like heavy duty. It's like it almost
feels like a real passport.
Yeah, it's got like that same kind of quality to the material.
Mm-hmm. And so you go around and you feel like you're handing them your passport for them to stamp it. And then with the vendor hall, just about not every booth, but many, many of the booths had stamps, and there was a little seal sign that they would hang up somewhere indicating that they had a stamp. And
it was a Silverlight certified, which I don't know if I can get to show up. But. And
each of the stamps, though, was personalized to that booth. That, in my opinion, is what was really cool about it.
And I loved that Shire Post Mint, they had actual stamps that they put on, because they're like, it makes sense with their store. And I was like, that is just really cool.
But it was really neat because it wasn't just, oh, here's your stamp. Here is the Cosmere Knot stamp where Steve from Read and Find Out was, or here's it's just each booth had their stamps, and it was really, really cool.
And that is the one regret of not having a booth.
Is that we didn't get a stamp. Yeah.
We don't have a personalized stamp.
Yeah. Well, specifically it was good because in the past years, and this is where, they're figuring things out. They're trying to find out how they're going to do this. But, there was a lot of confusion on a lot of the other games in past years.
Yes. Well, it's like with the coins from the year that the Lost Metal came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no indication of this is what you should give. This is how much you should give for doing a task. It was just sort of use your judgment.
Do it as you feel best,
Which was fine, but it became much more chaotic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, it's everyone knows where to go. It gives it. The thing I really liked about it is it really forced you to go to different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people would never go into the booth area, but that helps the people doing booths.
Or the Lightweaver Foundation section, which was a
that
little bit away from the rest of the con.
Yeah, like I didn't go into the third day because I didn't know where it was. I didn't click into where it was.
Yeah, you actually had to leave the convention center and go into the Radisson next door.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there were some really cool things over there.
Yeah, well, because that's where they were doing. First of all, that's where Mistborn Santa was.
Yes. People were getting pictures with Mistborn Santa.
Yeah, you had to schedule to get your picture taken with Mistborn Santa. It was going to some of the Lightweaver charities that they were supporting this year. It's where you could, buy your ornaments and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They do that every year.
But candy and stuff.
But they also had, they were playing a quiz game with a bunch of the authors that were there. And so our friend Charlie was there, of course. And then the guy who's playing Hoyd for the
World Hopper Ball,
the World Hopper Ball shows up as Hoyd, and he's fully in character as Wit the entire time, and he starts roasting all the authors.
It was wonderful.
Oh well, because first of all, the guy who was running it is like argue with him. It's like, why would we listen to him? He didn't even know how to reset the Kahoot. Like just. And then
he was going off the cuff and doing a great job.
But then he gets to Charlie and he goes, Charlie got her start in her writing fan fiction, the lowest form of art. And it's she's taken Brandon's writing class several times. She clearly needs to do it again. And then he gets to I always say yes. I always confuse it. There's a picture with a name very similar, and I always say the wrong one. And it's he's just Diet Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, it was great. Well, and it was part of the Lightweaver Foundation charity. You could actually pay to have Hoyd insult you,
which is just a whole next level of. How we're trying to monetize things for charity.
I wish I had known about it because I totally would have done it as the Jawa. That would have been amazing. Just to see him.
That would have been.
That would have been.
Like you don't even say anything. You just go up and you hand him whatever indicates I paid for this, and just stare at him.
Yep.
And if he says anything, just Utini.
And then throw a smoke bomb.
Pocket sand.
I probably would have been tempted to give him a fake coin because I had Star Wars coins that I had for a little while, so I would hand out those.
But no, and just small things like that, like going to, because it's like, okay, what if you don't want an ornament? Well, you could also buy some hot chocolate for charity, which is what I did.
Or you could what was it, like decorate something? It was like coloring something in, or and it's just like, so you don't necessarily have to pay to get the stamp for this room. It's just, but there are different ways you could support them. It was really cool.
Well, and then I just love the atmosphere of it, where it's just clear that everyone, in this room, everyone's here for the charity. And so everyone's just kind of hanging out, looking at things, and it being away from the convention's kind of nice as well. Just because you're sitting there actually kind of getting to relax a little bit.
It was kind of nice. Well, because like Jordan mentioned, there were panels there as well, and you could just sort of sit in a little bit more of a quiet environment. Well,
a little less chaos outside the door.
Yeah. Well, and then I liked how they also organized like the stamps by room. And so, because there were, there's the Roshar room, which is for the big panels. But they had the smaller rooms that were a little more out of the way, and so it gave you an excuse to go to them. Because some of them were a little more focused on different things. Like I believe it was the Lumar room that tended to be more Dragonsteel specific stuff. And then they had the Nalthis room that tended to be a little more about like writing and reading and stuff like that. Because like we went to the
Scadrial was where a lot of the
speculation panels.
That's
where our panels were.
Yeah.
Which kind of out of the way, which is a good place to put the speculation panels because you got a lot of people attending for the first time. You don't want to spoil them. Which
wasn't there one panel where like it was mentioned there were spoilers and one guy just stood up and ran, like sprinted out of the room?
Oh, no, that was my panel where we did.
Panel. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's like if you haven't read he like sprints out of the room and we keep go further.
And then he comes out and he's like, "Can I come in?" And it's like, "No, it's gonna be the whole panel."
Yeah, well then he's like, "I actually read it. I just kind of did it to be funny,"
which is great. That makes it even better in my opinion.
Oh man.
No, I had a great time. That's I love how interactive. Oh, again, the Steel Inquisitor was at my panel again. It is so disturbing when he's in the crowd. It is such a good Steel. I need to find out who this guy is because I've referenced him probably like 9 times over the course of the show. But it is it's seamless. I don't know how he's done this with his the spikes in his eyes and how he can see. But I don't like him looking at me.
It's got to be mesh on the end of it, but so it's just dark enough that you can't see in, but he can see out. And it's probably some prosthetic that he puts across around his eye, and he just puts makeup to blend it, which is a definite skill.
But the thing that's nice, he's also completely bald, and so he has spikes attached,
sticking out of the back. Yeah. I keep every once in a while I think, should I try it? And I'm like, I don't want to. I'd want to find a way to have it so that I don't have to put prosthetics right around my eyes. I don't want to do that.
You know, don't have to shave your head.
Well, I just wouldn't shave my head because no.
Oh, a false Inquisitor.
Retired or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
Esquire.
There's only one way to retire from being a Steel Inquisitor.
I snuck away. Who knows? It's fine. I don't know. I just don't want to shave my head. But whatever.
Look who's too good to be an Ardent.
A real cosplayer would just.
A real cosplayer would get a bald cap and do really well with that. I have not tried those.
But so one of the other cool things about the passports is that there were squares that were marked as required to actually, quote, complete the game.
Oh, that's right. There was the whole game attached to it.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing is, if you got all of the necessary stamps in each room, you could then take it to the Silverlight Mercantile booth, and we'll go into the card game in just a bit. You would, for each of the pages you got stamped properly, they would give you a pack of these trading cards that we'll go into in just a moment. And if you got all of them, there was another page where you could get a stamp. Now, like I said, only some of the spaces are marked required. If you got all of them, even the ones that aren't required, you got a second stamp over that first stamp. So it made it like a two-tone image. And the first several people who got it also received an exclusive pin, which I, of course, saw immediately going up on eBay for like $300, which...
Yeah.
Well, heck, who was it in our group who was... They both got the pin.
Oh, that's right. And one of them traded for like a whole bunch of cards.
Who was it that did that? I'm trying to remember.
Was it, I'm like Sprin, something Sprin.
Drogensprin?
Oh,
Drogensprin.
Oh, okay.
Was it her? I think it was her.
I think it was. Now I feel guilty. I'm trying to remember who did what. That was the other thing that was cool because we got to see a large, we saw some of our regulars there, but we also got to see some others from the Sixer crew who wouldn't normally show up. But for Stormlight 5, they're coming.
Yeah. I think that was probably my favorite part of the whole con was just running into our listeners, like either just coming across them or, we had a meetup, just a very casual meetup in the game room.
Yeah. Well, that was at the end of the con with the card game.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently was Dan's brainchild.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
he
Dan
wrote a lot of the story.
It was Dan and Brandon's, but Dan was kind of
He headed it up.
He is the instigator of it.
Yeah. The trading cards storytelling.
Yeah. So this is something that Dragonsteel has patented. It's basically like a trading card game, much like, Magic the Gathering or others. But instead of getting cards that you play in a game, you're getting a story. And so there were 3 separate stories that were written. I can't remember who wrote what, but Isaac wrote one, Dan wrote one, and Brandon wrote one.
I think Isaac wrote the Chasm
Friends.
Fiends. Yeah, Chasm Friends, yeah.
Chasm Friends.
If you looked at the thumbnail,
it's
that's
like My
the
Little
artwork
Ponies,
from it.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so the thing is, there were a couple variants because they had the holographic or.
So let's finish finish. So each of these stories, there were 53 cards, and what?
54.
Was it 54?
It has to be a multiple of 9.
It's 54.
You have to.
I'm looking at it. It says 54.
Okay, so there were 54 cards, and if you had cards 1 through 54 of any particular story, you have a complete story. And the thing that's really cool, as Amy is showing as she's flipping through her book, every 9 cards, when laid out in a 3x3 grid, created another piece of art, which is really, really cool. And they had these binders for sale in the Dragonsteel store. But so there were 3 stories, and then there were also a set of 9 cards that were the heralds. And so since there are 10 heralds, each of the cards had one of the heralds, and then on the back they had the 10th.
Videl, I think it is.
But like you were saying,
Batar, isn't it?
Oh, but I can't remember.
I think it is Batar.
I think it's Batar.
Yeah.
Here's the heralds I have.
But if you ask, but like Jordan, like you were saying, there were variants.
Yeah. Well, so they had there's the holographics, which are the ones that are they're shiny.
The shiny ones, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's nonsense, which apparently has a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, it depends on the story, how it was handled. With the Chasm Friends, it's basically the story told from a human's perspective. And it's actually much more horrifying.
Yeah, it's like a horror story from his perspective.
Man. I'm bummed I don't have more of that one. I only have 1 card from that.
Well, they've said they will release the full story to the public once they've. It's one of those things, they got to leave it out long enough that it,
they said it'll be at least a year.
Yeah, so that the people who got it don't feel like they've been shortchanged, but at the same time they don't want to hide the story from you got to pay to get the story.
Well, and one of the things that was really cool, they wanted to make it so that it wasn't difficult necessarily to get a complete story. So supposedly all of the story cards were the same commonality. Like you had just as much likelihood of getting one as another. So it's like none of the just basic story cards are any more rare than the others. That didn't happen because one of the boxes was delayed in the shipping. And apparently a lot of the high numbered cards were in those.
And a lot of the Heralds 7 through 9 were in there too, is my other guess. Because that's the one. Those are the 3 Heralds that most people were struggling to get.
The Heralds, I don't know if there's any they may actually actively be more rare than others. I don't know, because that you're not missing out on a story. You're just missing out on a neat little card. But then the variants, there were the foil cards and there were the nonsense cards, and
there's foil nonsense cards too.
And foil nonsense cards. And those are more rare than all the others. So there's still a collection aspect. There's still I got a rare one aspect of it, but there is no, you have to buy 1 million packs before you actually get enough to get your full story.
And kind of even just by searching online and talking to other people are generally very willing to, I will help you complete, I'll swap with you or whatever else like that.
There's actually a Facebook group that's dedicated specifically to that, and I've made a couple of trades that way.
Oh, I need to find this Facebook group because my goodness. Anyway, continue.
I can send you a link to it or invite you to it. But yeah, it's So I only have like two cards that I'm missing now. So maybe 3.
Yeah, just let me know after, and I'll see if I have them, because I got most of a box that's extras.
And then I think I have 4 heralds, so there's still 5 heralds I'm missing as well. But yeah.
No, that part I really liked, just because it also encouraged people to just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are going around trying to
find other cards.
Yeah, and so they're just coming up to groups that, they don't have, which was really nice for us, because the one, I actually really liked it just because it gives an excuse to just sit down and just work stuff out.
Well, and then if you see somebody sorting through their cards, you can talk to them. You can say, "Ooh, do you have this? Oh, hey, what do you need? I may have a duplicate of it." And actually interact. And it's also strictly optional. So if you don't want to deal with that, you don't have to.
Well, and you could tell there were some people who, that wasn't what they were here for. And they're just like, "Hey, here, what do you need? Yep, here, just have those. I don't care." And we're just giving stuff away to help.
A lot of people, once they completed it, they're like, "I have a bunch of duplicates. I'll just give it to whoever wants it."
Mm-hmm. And there was even a table at the end where they had like volunteers like sorting cards, and like it was pick a card, take a card. Like they weren't like super strict about it. It's just like, these are extra cards. If you need them to complete your thing, then by all means, kind of.
The hard part wasn't that inside of Silverlight Mercantile?
No, it was over by the entrance.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, it was the last day, like towards the evening.
Right.
Which we left. Yeah, we left a little early because we wanted to beat the traffic.
That's true. But the line to Silverlight Mercantile was just,
it got bad.
Like the first day it was fine. The second day it got busy, and the third day it was insane. The third day it felt like the line for the store last year, and the line for the store this year actually was much better.
Yeah.
Much better than last year. They definitely learned from what.
And they had people like doing trivia and stuff to try and entertain you for the little bit of time that you were in line and things.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Fun. I didn't even notice that part.
Yeah.
But it went so much faster.
The thing I really liked about the store this time was you could just, because of the way it was laid out, it was easier to see how long the line was up until the third day, because they then just co-opted the line for the store for Silverlight Mercantile, which that's going to be one of those things they'll learn, and next year it'll be different.
Well, and each year, and I mentioned to Jordan at one point, each of the previous years has felt like a small con or a new con. This year, it felt so much more polished. It felt like this is an official, planned, laid out convention.
They know what they're doing.
Like it felt like, okay, this feels like a proper convention, and there's a part of me that kind of missed there's always something neat about being at something like that at the beginning. It feels a little bit more slapped together, a little bit more rough, a little bit more personal. And I felt like some of that was lost, but at the same time, this was just polished and big and very, very well done. Kara and her team know what they're doing at this point.
They knocked it out of the park for sure.
They really did.
Mm-hmm. And I think they made it so that there weren't any volunteers this year. They were only employees, employees. So everybody got paid.
Yeah, they were volunteers, and they called them squires, and they said we want to pay our volunteers. So yeah, they all got.
Because I almost ended up being one. Mm-hmm. Like it was a little bit confusing how that worked out for me, because I didn't realize that's what I was signing up for. Kind of. I was a later sign up type thing, and it was just it was a little bit different with how that I was a weird scenario, and I ended up opting and being like, "That's fine. I won't do it."
Yeah. But no, and the squires were very, very professional. They were just excellent work from each.
They were always very, very helpful.
I never saw one that I was just like, okay, this one's got a little bit of a power trip. Like it was very cool.
Yeah,
well, it's just everyone's there to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things where it's hard to quantify what it is when you got a community that's sitting here and you can tell they're just wanting to have fun, but they definitely got it here.
Yeah.
The one of the other things I really liked about the setup with the Silverlight Mercantile, even with all the hiccups and stuff, is the variety of things you had to do.
Yes.
Because there was attending, various panels and stuff, which is just wise altogether, just because it gets people sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
It gets people going to all the booths, but then you had the game room stuff where it's like, play a game with someone you don't know, and it's like try and, get like, they had like 5 objectives, but you had to get 3.
Teach someone a game they didn't know.
Yeah.
Play with a group of 4 people, just like different
things that like you could do it with one game very easily if you wanted to.
But it was cool because there was only one stamp for that room, and it's like, do 4 of these 7 things to get your stamp. And it was entirely on the honor system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. I like that they weren't over here trying to be busybodies. Like, did you really do this?
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some of the games that didn't quite work. Like they had some that had an online component, and it's like this one wasn't quite working.
It was broken. Right. Like they had a Sudoku as part of it, and apparently the Sudoku was broken.
Yeah, and that was the go around and scan things.
Yeah,
that was Taldane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you get things like that. It's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, because they're not here being sticklers for anything, they're, I didn't mind it that much. Just like, okay, that one didn't quite work. Oh, well.
And I mean, in the arts and crafts thing, it was a little bit confusing because at first it sounded like you needed to do 1 per day, but then it turned out it was just needed 1 because they had misprinted the lines on it. And the nice thing with that is you didn't have to buy any crafts. You could just go to the coloring table. You could go paint some watercolors. You could do whatever else. And like, I just drew both times because I was like, I'm in costumes. I don't want to mess with watercolors. Mm-hmm. So I drew a Jawa and I drew a horse.
Are watercolors a hazard?
Yeah, we're not messing with that. No.
Even in your Deathbringer costume?
He makes a fair point.
It was all black.
It was all black, but I had a gloved hand, which was always... And every time I had to take it off, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm being scandalous. And people were like, scandalous. It's just like... And people, they would never really...
You're a Dustbringer. That's kind of your thing.
It's fine. It's like, do you really want to try that? No one ever really got upset about it. They just play along.
Some Radiants just want to watch the world burn.
Yes. Anyway. Yeah.
So, all right, panels. Let's talk about panels we attended and panels you two were a part of. I actually opted out this year. I was just like, I just want to go full attendee this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but let's talk about your panels.
Do you want to go first, Jordan, or do you want me to?
Oh, you go ahead.
So mine was on Friday, and it was Hoyd in the Void, and it was Hoyd's Many Travels Through the Cosmere. And I looked up my email because I can never remember everybody's names, but I had Paul Peters, Paul Chan, Alexander Miller, Jackson Miller. They're not related. And Jackson Miller was actually Adolin at the World Hover Ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't realize it until after, like he mentioned it to us because it was the Friday. He's like, oh, so, it's kind of out of the bag. So I can tell you guys. And I'm like, what? Okay, cool. I didn't attend at all. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. But they're all very nice guys. It went pretty well. The AV stuff was fine. It was a good discussion. We had more people there than I thought. I always worry that no one's going to want to come to my panels, but we had pretty good attendance. We were in Scadrial. The room was pretty much full.
Most rooms were fairly full for each of the panels, especially in Scadrial. Because Scadrial is one of the smaller rooms comparatively. And when I say smaller room, I mean it's not a giant auditorium.
Yeah, it'll still fit like 250 people.
Yeah.
I feel like Nalthus was probably one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
Smallest, maybe.
And Nalthus that's where they would put the more niche topics.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like I ended up going to like a horror horror writing one. Like
it was
that was the one where Bill lost his glasses in the most insane way possible.
Oh, but it was about like that. That's where panels. It was mostly panels about writing and about the art of writing and the business of like being a writer rather than the Cosmere.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so like my panel went pretty well, and I was my Jawa that day, and so like I showed up, but I had my hood and everything off, and then towards the end of the panel I put my stuff back on, and there were a couple people who talked to me afterwards, and they said that they had like looked away for a second and looked back, and all of a sudden I was a Jawa, and it freaked them out because it's like it's a person. No, it's a Jawa. Anyway, but I was like, hey, I'm the Jawa running around, so if you see it, it's me, because I'm probably the only Jawa running around. But it was just fun. It was good.
What if there had been another Jawa?
Then I would have been amazed and been like, oh my goodness, I found my people right here. We gotta do all the pictures together. That'd be great.
And you could have done the Spider-Man pointing.
Yeah.
At Dragonsteel, no less, yeah.
If I had a nickel every time there was a Jawa.
I think one of my favorite things to do as a Jawa is if someone like gives me their phone, like will let me, I will turn it to selfie mode and I will do selfies as a Jawa, and I will like do the cutesy whatever. It's go over the top. And it's so much fun. It's just a blast being a Jawa because no one can see who I am, and I can just be silly and goofy and whatever. And
it's very freeing.
It's great. Mm-hmm.
So I did the Era 3 Mistborn speculation with that Cosmere chick and Alex from the Silverlight Guide to the Cosmere. I felt the panel went really well, actually.
It was a great
we had great chemistry. The only downside to it was, frankly, just how late it was. But I think that actually went to its benefit.
Yeah.
Because I think there were a lot of people who they're at the end of the day and they're just like, I don't want to leave yet, but I need to sit down. I need to sit down.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. It was fairly full, and Jordan was spitting one-liners the whole time.
You having zingers all over the place.
I was set up very well. It really helps. So this is the thing. It really helps, and this is when you have people who you don't do the podcast with who aren't tired of your shtick. Because the issue is like
idea what you're talking about.
No. In all seriousness, like that's not. I don't say that as like it sounds bad, but it's. You guys know the direction I'll go with a joke, and so I'll hold back because it's like, nah, the audience has heard this joke 10,000 times. This isn't, this isn't a thing. But with that crew, it's like I can make all the jokes and puns that we've had before, and everyone's like, oh, he's so funny. It's like, yeah, it's only taken 170 some odd episodes to come up with all these one-liners.
No, and I almost asked a question, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, that was the downside was, again, it doesn't matter how long it is, it always feels too short.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just sit there, you look at your clock and like, why is it flying so quickly?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, that adrenaline rush just suddenly makes time zip by.
It's weird when people are filing in, it's super intimidating. But as soon as the panel starts and you're just sort of interacting with the panelists, it's almost like the audience kind of disappears.
Yeah.
Not really, but you're just having a conversation again.
And I think it helps that we've done the podcast. I mean, yes, we're not talking directly to an audience, but we're used to just kind of like, well, here we go. We're just spitballing and
we're on a panel.
But we're just doing it amongst ourselves more than,
Yeah.
than for the actual people.
Because I've heard authors talk about how, they go to these conventions for the first time and suddenly, they just been writing in their room, and suddenly there's just a crowd and they're like, whoa, I haven't prepared for this. And it is helpful, the fact that we've done the podcast, even though I'm not used to an actual crowd there, we have the audience chatting.
You spit out a one-liner and people laugh. You're like, oh, there's energy.
Yeah. There is an energy you can feed off of that really does help. Well, and look, when one joke lands, if one person, like it's I forget what it's an effect, but like one person laughs, it gives permission for other people to laugh.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of breaks the ice. So everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah.
And so
I can do that.
Yeah, so having a crowd. Like, that's the real thing. I don't think I was any funnier than I normally am. I think just having the crowd and just everyone else, just having a good time, it seasons it a lot better. Now, I think I'm this funny all the time.
You totally are, Jordan.
You do
Thank
think
you.
you're this funny all the time.
You see, that sounds like a compliment, but I don't think that's actually formed as one. No. There weren't as many of the giant cosplays I remember from years past. Like, I don't remember seeing Doomslug this time.
There was
the mascot cosplay.
Yeah.
There was Mistwraith was there.
Yeah, I did see, but that one, okay, the Mistwraith cosplay looked so good, but you could tell it was so cumbersome for them to get around in it.
Just because, I mean, she's kind of hunched over and she's really pretty good in it because she's had so many years to practice and everything else. But it's just, she has like 3 or 4 people with her that are just there to help make sure she can get around and not bump into things. And she usually would like plant herself in a spot and just, this is where I chill. And then that's it. Yeah. I felt so bad because she did the same day that I did this cosplay showcase, and they had her waiting on the ramp when they were doing like a bunch of the Roshar stuff. So she just had to chill there. And just wait and wait and wait. And I was like, it's got to be rough. And then she fell too, but she got up. So she was okay. And just like the back piece or one random piece fell off. But she got up and she's like, nope, cool. But it was like, there was a collective gasp through like the whole room. And we're all like,
wasn't it like one of the bones or something?
Like one of the bone pieces like totally like came off or whatever. And she like stumbled a little bit. She got back up, but she was okay. But it was just like.
It feels somewhat appropriate for a Mistwraith, though.
It does, like, yeah.
Moving awkwardly and, just... it adds to the illusion.
Well, one of the other things that was really cool, because people showed up to the cosplay showcase with bits. And, like, one guy who showed up, be like, oh, he's Kelsier. And then, like, he, like, flicks a coin at someone, then does a backflip off the stage. You're just...
Yeah, like, there were some people, I'm like, man... You guys are acrobatic, and that I appreciate that. Go because your costume can handle it, and you can do it, and that is just amazing.
And I cannot.
And meanwhile, I'm over here thinking maybe I can cosplay as Breeze. It just
hey,
look,
if it works, do it.
You can't go wrong. Cosplay it as people our age.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the other thing it makes me appreciate about Brandon. Is the sheer variety of characters he works into his stories lets people who, want to get into cosplaying, do characters that wouldn't, that aren't in a lot of other people's stories.
So one of the best costumes I saw going around, he was there like all 3 days, was Capsule. And he had like a platter and he had jam and bread and he's like, do you want some bread?
Well, and that's what's fun because like the first couple of cons like this, you're seeing people who are like, okay, I'm going to be Adelaide, or I'm going to be Kelsier, or I'm going to be the standard character. But as more and more happen, people are like, I want to stand out. And there's there's a lot of people dressing as Vin now. I want to stand out. Let's go more obscure.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was somebody dressed as Stick.
There were a couple. I saw a couple of Stick.
There was like somebody in a suit that was like wood grain.
There was a Nightblood.
Yes.
Nightblood. She was amazing. Like she had like the black outfit and then like the shoulder blade.
There was a Urathiru.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Urathiru. She's
amazing. She's edge dancing through life or something like that. She started doing social media stuff and I was like, oh, it's amazing. You're the Urathiru person. I love it.
Well, it's like last year. One of the most creative cosplays I saw last year was she was the Year of Sanderson box.
Yes,
that was
like
so
those
good.
boxes that would show up on your porch every month. She dressed as that, and it was amazing.
It was.
But it's just sudden. I love the cosplays that are for the deep fans, the ones who recognize it. It's just like. Oh,
I know where you are. Yeah.
There was when we were leaving the game.
I don't know what yet.
We were leaving the game room. Me and Bill. There were some people that they were in these weird like suits that it almost looked like it belonged like in some weird like Teletubby show. And it took me a second. I'm like, wait. And I like stopped. I'm like, are you guys the Cult of Moments? Like, and they're just like, yeah, that's what we sort of had these around. We're like, oh, it's kind of Cult of Moments. So like,
that's right. They look like the what are they called? The Kuzbanian. No, not the, like it was a Muppet thing, like the Meep Meeps or something like that.
Meep. Oh man, I wish I'd spotted them. That was cool.
Well,
there was a guy dressed up as Sadius, and he was it was Amaram, and he was on point. It was so good. Anyway, continue.
And by that, annoying.
Yes, like when he went across the stage, he's like, "Yes, and I do have a punchable face." Was kind of his like little thing that he said.
But it's just,
or had them say for him.
It's so great to see people branching out in their costumes and being like, I mean, like some literally being, branching out and being Stick. But it's just so cool seeing them being like, okay, I want to dig deeper.
Yeah. Well, and then even the vendors are going pretty deep now. Like we started off the con doing an escape room.
Yeah.
Which the concept of an escape room at a convention, I'm just like, how can you fit that in a con space? They fit it in.
Yep. They had like a mini one that was like a telephone booth, and they had the one that we did that was like a little room.
Yeah, I did the telephone booth. They were at SaltCon earlier last year, and I did that one. And my only complaint about it is that it was in the vendor hall. The vendor hall was so loud that you couldn't always hear the effects or even the presenter who was part of the
which
so it's hard.
They would have he had went all out.
Yes, they absolutely. It's one like through no fault of the escape room, it was hard to hear, but it was still very well done.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Well,
I didn't make it through Hoyd's Museum this year.
No, the line was always huge.
There were a few more additions to it. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I feel like there were a couple more new things to it. But it was still generally the same stuff, which I don't blame them. I mean,
yeah, well, it's cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, now what was new for the Hoyd's Museum were the statues they had outside, where they had they had the life size Chull.
Mm-hmm.
I still said I didn't get a picture with him. And they had a chasm fiend, and then there was the what is that called? The rock thing. The
Thunderclast.
Yes, Thunderclast.
Oh.
They were coming out of the ends of the building too.
Yep. Okay. We've been going for a while.
Oh, right.
Do y'all still have stuff that you want to get to? I think there's still enough stuff, so let's take a break right now, and then we'll be back. Might be a shorter segment.
All right.
All right, we'll see y'all in a bit. Yeah, I let it go longer this time just because I wasn't sure if we were going to have enough to talk into two sections, and so. But I think there's still more to talk about.
Yeah, well, because we haven't even discussed Brandon's speech and stuff.
We haven't talked about Brandon's keynote. We haven't talked about the store. We haven't talked about I mean, like we talked about the line to the store, but we haven't talked about the store itself and all the extra swag that came out this year. And so there's a lot still. Okay, I'm going to go get some water.
So, chat, how's your day been?
What's up?
Getting lots of Amy noises.
Yep. Big ol' yawn that's not recorded. Well, I guess it's on the YouTube side.
Yeah, the live recording side.
Mm.
Can you guys hear that? It's like a helicopter, like right over our house or something. We're near the UVU. Well, it's not near, but like over by the Provo airport, they have a helicopter school.
No.
And so occasionally you'll get it. You're just like, are we being attacked?
What is going on? We have
I paid my taxes. I'm
military
responsible.
Planes go by sometimes.
Oh, right.
I hear more outside than inside.
There's also the hospital, and they have the life flight.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully it's not that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go use the restroom too.
Be the Amy show for a minute. Wah! What? Saw a shadow and it made me jump, but it's okay. It is okay. So, I got a new puffy vest from my mother-in-law. It's very warm.
A nice serial killer.
Hmm?
I said, it's a nice serial killer, the shadow you saw.
No. I'm trying to figure out, because I want to do a random, like, obscure, but still people could spot what it is costume for this year, rather. But I don't know what it would be. Figure I'll let it percolate in my head. I also kind of want to do a maybe not pattern, but a cryptic, and do it more accurate than other people have done it. Not that people haven't done good jobs, but like the part that really would make it for me is having the fabric like actually have all that structure. Mm-hmm. And people haven't quite managed that, which I don't blame them, because that's a lot of work. But that's what I'm just like, I want that.
Maybe you can get some of that memory cloth that Batman used.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I only need electricity, right? No,
and
I have
engineering.
I've got some ideas in mind for how to do like the shoulders and stuff, for sure. That's not impossible, but it's like how to do the arms, because I heard some people saying that they might be doing like cutting the fabric in just certain ways so that it would fold up right and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to toy around with that. And then I'd have to make myself gloves, because I have like those long fingers, but I wouldn't want to leave the fingers bare. I'd want gloves on them. And the second part is I will be completely helpless when I am totally dressed up in that. So yeah, it's always a little scary.
Help, I'm a cryptic and I can't get up.
Maybe you can bring your daughter and she can be your handler.
Oh no. I have my friend who does the Evil Queen. She's like, hey, you want me to be your handler for that costume? I would totally do it. You just got to get me a ticket. And I'm sitting there going, I'm tempted
I'm trying
now.
to get me a ticket. So.
I got to get me a ticket. Yeah.
Everybody wants a ticket.
So how was y'all's Christmas?
It's good.
Yeah?
It's good. It's pretty chill.
I made money.
Yay, money.
Hey, that's good stuff.
I spent money and we skied. That's the other thing we did.
Oh, fun.
Is we've taught my kids how to sort of ski, and I relearned sort of how to ski. I'm still not amazing, but I don't die, hopefully. So
that's an important step.
Any gifts that stood out, either given or received?
Trying to think.
My parents got me some more RAM, so that's nice.
RAM,
very nice.
No, I got Josh got me a little like Zen Garden Lego set, the Tranquil Garden. It's like a Japanese style one, so I did that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And we did Rivendell. That was our family
right?
gift.
Oh, you mentioned that. That's right.
Mm-hmm. So it's all completed, and we have now finished listening to Return of the King, and we watched the movie over 2 days. So the children have finished The Lord of the Rings.
My nephew, it's his senior year, and next month he's gonna fly up here for a weekend, and we're gonna we're gonna marathon the Lord of the Rings trilogy for his first time. He's never seen it before.
Oh,
so
you're gonna have good snacks too. I know, knowing you're gonna have good snacks.
I make good snacks.
You do.
I have to be careful about snacks that I make now because, you
have too much power.
No, I have too much health issues.
Like I said, power, right?
That's not power.
Oh, dang. Okay.
That's like the opposite of power.
I misunderstood the situation.
Clearly. I'm exercising organs I haven't used in years.
Clearly you don't need them.
No. My mom, back when she was, I think it was her freshman year of college, she did needlepoint for like a really, really intricate needlepoint that was it became like it was turned into the cushion for a piano bench.
Oh yeah.
And when when my grandparents passed away, my mom, like one of the things that she inherited from them was their piano and the bench. And she gave those to me. So I've had them, but the bench has been broken ever since I got it. I just haven't really known how to get it fixed because it had been repaired like a dozen times. And it was just one of those things and my brother has a wood shop, but he lives in Alabama. So when he was out here in July for a family reunion, he actually took it back with him and completely refinished it, like took it down to individual pieces and then rebuilt it, refinished it, and just made it absolutely beautiful. And then we gave it to her for Christmas and she was emotional. It was really cool because every time she comes out, she asks me about getting it fixed. And I'm like, I don't know how. I'll look. And then I'm never able to really figure it out.
But you got it fixed.
And so this time it was like, okay, we'll get it done. And so now she has it, which is really special. So
yeah.
Well, that's incredibly wholesome.
Yeah. And then I also got 5 cookbooks and 6 DVDs.
That's a lot of cookbooks.
That is a whole lot of cookbooks. Now I need to just know what I want to cook from it because there's a lot of them.
You got options.
Like I got Gordon Ramsay's Uncharted, where he like actually traveled the world and is like he went up to the cliffs or to the seaside cliffs in Iceland and was getting, basically getting the food himself from all these different places. So it's more of a rustic cookbook. And then I got one called The Walk. It's by J. Kenji Lopez-Alt, which he wrote The Food Lab, which is phenomenal. And so I was excited to get this one. And then, just a whole bunch of them. Okay. We ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I forgot that step. Amy and I both held our hands up. We forgot about that step.
We were so excited to clap.
We're like, okay, we clap. But I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We don't do that right now.
I felt so good that Amy was doing that with me.
I saw that as I clicked away and I'm just like,
you.
Y'all, we're so excited.
Ready to do it.
Now I'm starting the recording. And 3, 2, 1. And we're back. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the store. We talked about the line for the store, but we didn't really talk about the store and what was in the store this year. Because, each year they'll have new stuff for the convention.
Yes.
Amy showcased one of the things that they had, which was the books, the binders for the trading card game, which for those who aren't aware, and all the stuff we're talking, or not all the stuff, but a lot of the stuff we're talking about now is going to be going on sale on the Dragonsteel Books website.
Or is already there, depending on
some of it is already there, but a lot of it is going on sale for the first time tomorrow, and including that binder, which I actually will.
Which ran out at the convention because I got lucky. Like it was down to like maybe 15 on the table, and I kept having people ask me for pictures, and I'm like, I want to make sure I get one. But yes, you can take my picture as a Jawa, but I still want my binder. So because Jordan and I went through on the first day.
Yeah, and I thought about getting it.
I hadn't really gotten into the card game. I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
And then as I'm organizing everything, I've recognized I wish I'd got one of those, but they were sold out at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I got one. I was really happy that last year I wasn't able to get Josh's con shirt, because that's what I get him every year, is I get him the convention shirt, and they didn't have his size didn't come in last year, and so I was able to get it this year. So I got us this year's shirts, as well as I got him his last year's shirt. So
I had something similar happen. It did go up on the website, so that's where I got my shirt for last year.
I just remember every time I looked, it wasn't there. So
I was very specifically keeping an eye out for it, just because I like to get the shirt for every convention I go to. And so
makes sense.
They had all the orders there.
All of the pajama sets for each of the Radiant orders. I was upset because I don't love the design of the Edge Dancer shirts. Like, it just, like, the I don't know, there was just something about the pajama pants that I didn't really like the way.
Because aren't they white with the blue symbols?
They're white with the blue, and I would have much more preferred
blue with white.
With white, which is what the shirt was like. Yeah,
I think they were trying to contrast it, but I
think they were, but I don't think that it worked.
White pants always make me worry. Just, I don't know.
Exactly.
It's why I personally went with the Dustbringer stuff, was just because I was like looking at the Elts collars, and I'm like, the Dustbringer just looks cooler.
It does. I mean, that's part of why I dressed up as one, because it just looks cool. It's red and black,
When I'm wearing pajamas, I don't want to have to be careful about what I get on them. This is my sloppy outfit. Yes.
So I mean, they had that, and they had the remaining stuff from the boxes from last year. Like they had,
they did have it separated stuff out. Yeah.
And they had all the pins that, were out before, and they had like patches and stickers and just like the normal stuff.
I'm impressed how many leather bounds they had.
Oh, so many leather bounds. I mean, they always stock up before Dragonsteel.
Yeah, you can tell they've now made a concerted effort to make sure they have them.
Yes.
Because, and related to one of the big announcements of the con, which was the Wheel of Time leather bounds that they're going to be doing. Yep. It's Brandon expressed, he's like, I was frustrated. I couldn't get, the leather bounds of my book series. And he's, of course, making sure everyone else can get the leather bounds of his book series.
Kind of doing it just so I can have a pretty book.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty Wheel of Time, yeah.
I really liked they had holiday cards that were themed, that were Cosmere themed. There was one, it was like a Colin family picture.
I saw the art for that. It looked super cute. It was that the one where they have Gallant like shoving his head in there and eating an apple or whatever, and
I honestly
Adolin's kissing it.
But it was just from the smart. They had some really, really clever ones, and so then all sorts of pins. So with the book bundle this year, you also would get a Chull plushie, which was weighted with beanbags and very heavy. I actually felt really
I can grab it. It's right behind me.
Oh, you have one?
No, you do.
Oh, mine in the other room.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really heavy, so I felt bad for anyone who actually was flying and had to pack.
Apparently they had issues with like the TSA. Something about the TSA had to keep pulling people over for it and stuff.
And that's the thing is, if you check it, it's going to weigh a lot in your luggage. But if you carry it through TSA, because it's got all those bean bags, it's very, very dense, and it looks really weird going through the scanner.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. It's funny because like yours, it looks like the little tooth marks are correct. Mine, one of my little tooth marks is upside down.
Yours is the valuable variant. You're going to be a millionaire.
The valuable. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but like, no, I like my little Chull. He's very cute.
Yeah, and it is pretty heavy.
And then
it's hefty.
It also came with a Zeth pin. So there are so many pins now because, and a lot of people in various fandoms like to trade pins, and so he's doing various, I forget what they're called, series of pins.
But do other fandoms have Queen Emily pins?
They do not have
probably not.
Pins. Yeah, because number 0 on series 1 was Brandon, and so number 0 for series 2 is Queen Emily. She complete with sword and crown.
I still love that she wanted. She saw that they were getting.
Yeah, just as a reminder, for Brandon's wedding, his groomsman gift, he gave all of his groomsmen swords. And Emily saw them and said, I want a sword. And so, of course, Brandon got her a sword.
Yeah.
When your wife says she wants a sword, you get her a sword.
You get her a sword, yeah.
Happy wife, happy knife.
Didn't
tell me I'm not hilarious. Tell me that.
Oh man,
you're a bad person and you should be punished.
I'm a wonderful person. All right, fine. I'll punish myself. I'll remove myself to the basement.
You can't remove yourself to the basement.
It's a preemptive punishment.
I was planning this a long time.
Oh man.
That's why you're in the basement.
Yeah,
we've been for years.
I've been setting up this joke for decades.
Indeed.
Let's see. Was there anything in the store that you wish you had bought that you didn't?
Other than the binder.
The binder was one.
There were some really good shirts. I can't remember what any of them were, of course. They had the items like from the various planets.
Yeah, like the different, like the AVR and the skull. And like I kind of quizzed my kids on it a little bit. I was like, which is this one? Which is that one? And because I got that shirt last year.
I wanted to buy all the leather bounds, and then I said, no, Jordan, you can't afford that.
One of the things that was really, really popular was there was a card game playmat for Way of Kings.
Oh, yeah.
It had some like really cool stained glass
style.
Art. But it's a big neoprene mat that you can, it makes it easier to play cards on.
I tell you what, another thing that was really popular was the Bridge for Letterman jackets.
The hoodie, yeah, the hoodie with the
different colors,
the bicolored sleeves, yeah.
I keep wishing I'd gotten the sweatshirt, but I'm like, it's okay. I had a budget, and there was a weighted blanket, or there was a blanket too of Bridge 4.
The Bridge 4 blanket was gorgeous.
That looked nice.
It was interesting because there was a VIP version where that actually came as part of the goodie bag for the VIP badges.
Oh yeah,
really?
Those blessed few who were able to get
got those
VIP badges. And then there was just a version that you could buy in the store. But I thought that was cool because it's like, for those who got the VIP, let them feel special.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Mistborn deck building game was there and sold out very quickly.
Twice. Because our buddy Roger, who's guested on the show for our medical one, he tried to get it and couldn't get it the first day. He's like, I've heard rumors there'll be more tomorrow.
I think I saw it on the website, but I didn't click onto it when I looked at it today. So it didn't mark it as sold out. It doesn't look
like it's sold. Nope, it's sold out. It is.
Oh, okay.
If you click on it, it actually says sold out.
Okay.
Now, there is one item that showed up that I'm an old man who's crotchety about things. It's the flat brimmed hat. I'm sorry. No. I thought they looked stupid.
And even Brandon, didn't he kind of start to try and bend his too? Because he's like, this is how I wear hats, but this is apparently what people want.
The brim is meant to be bent on a hat, on a cap.
To block the light, right?
This is my old man rant. I will stick to that.
Love that. And then there were no further.
There were more Christmas sweaters, which was they had the Tress of the Emerald Sea Christmas sweater, which I saw a lot of people wearing.
And they had apparently the other Stormlight one was the shard, all the shard blades, the Herald's blades was what.
Yep. Yeah, so that was also a very popular one. But yeah, there wasn't a lot this year that just said, Bill, buy me, which was fine because it's Christmas. I'm already spending too much money, and so.
Yeah, I got my Dustbringer shirt. I got my Dustbringer pajama bottoms.
Even though you're not a Dustbringer.
I keep contemplating getting the Edge Dancer one and then doing a silly video where I slide across the floor, or a wood floor or something like that as an edge dancer, but I don't know that I'd have the skill to do it anyway, and not like fall.
You
or
don't
just like
so
not
you,
slide.
So you're doing lift style because she's
That's I think that was my original pitch, wasn't it? You do it like regular edge dancer, lift that dancer with like a piece of ham in your mouth or something.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Oh, the other thing about the pins,
pancake.
They also had character pins of all of the different Kalins.
Yeah, that's right. They had the Kalin pin. I
did
think I did buy that one.
Navani, Renarin.
Mm-hmm.
I think I missed that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was over in the pin section on the side.
Which, I don't collect pins, but...
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know. I thought I noticed stuff, but apparently not.
Anything else that stood out to y'all?
I finally got the Bridge 4 bag. Because I didn't get that with your Sanderson boxes.
You got you got that. I used that so much this last week on the cruise that I was on.
That's good. I haven't used it yet, but I was like, fine, I'm gonna get it. I've been thinking about it. I may as well just get it.
It's a great satchel.
The
hashtag not a purse.
It's a man bag.
It's a man bag. It's a merce.
Go ahead, Jordan.
So other than Brandon's reading for oh my goodness, why am I blanking on what it is? The story for next year.
Oh, because I can't remember what it is either.
Moment Zero?
Yes, Moment Zero. Very interesting concept.
Oh, yeah.
Very different from his normal stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'm liking experimental Brandon. Just because it lets him, I think, get back a little more to his roots. And then it's one of those things, it's been interesting seeing him as time has gone on just get more and more comfortable in front of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
The really fun one was when he did the Q&A, the spoiler panel, and I don't remember what it was. A guy showed up and he's like, "Oh, this is amazing. I actually met my wife through your books, blah, blah, blah." And he explains, "Oh, that's awesome." And it's like, "Is she here?" He's like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Do you have tickets to the World Hoppers Ball?" And he's like, "Oh, no, we don't." "Do you want one?" Like and then he just reaches into his coat pocket and just sort of like,
and the crowd went nuts.
It's like,
It's just one of those things that I don't know. Early Brandon has the confidence to hold that.
Like, I don't know that I would have wanted to go as my Jawa, but it would have been hilarious to go as my Jawa because I have a bow tie and a cummerbund I could have worn. Because when I did the ring bearer Jawa, I totally could have done. Anyway, awesome. It's fine. But no, I would want my face visible so I could do things.
Apparently, also everyone's named Jordan. It pisses me off because I kept thinking I've been called for to do a spoiler Q&A question, and it's like, dang it, another Jordan.
The Jordans.
If only I didn't have a unisex name that was really popular.
Oh wow. Were there any other panels that really stood out to you guys that you enjoyed?
I always like going to the fan holders meeting.
I still haven't gone to one. I need to go to one.
And that's where Emily leads the panel, and it's all of the officers at Dragonsteel. So, they have basically all of the VPs. So like Dan and Isaac and Matt and I'm blanking on
Peter.
Yeah, Peter's definitely. And who's his head of marketing? The one who's the Adam. Yeah, the disembodied voice on all of Brandon's streams.
He does actually have a body, we can confirm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're all there, and they talk about, and Kara, of course, and they talk about what they've done the past year and what they've got. It's basically their own individual State of the Sanderson kind of moment
in person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's just what I like about it. It's more about the attitude of them doing it,
mm-hmm.
where because it's obviously a play off the concept of the shareholders meeting.
Yes.
Where it's the idea of the executives being accountable to the people who own the company, the shareholders. And so it's just the fact
are invested, is like they say,
literally,
you are invested in our company. And so
little eye or big eye.
Yeah. And so I just like the attitude of that, no, we're beholden to the fans. And it's just something you don't see from a lot of content, or I say content creators, but like any type of creative person. It's because it's like, oh no, I make this thing, and it's sort of this thing. It's over here, and I make it, and if people want to consume it, that's fine. But it just shows a lot of gratitude. And I don't know. It's just, I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just love that it's a thing. The other thing that was really cool is they had a panel. It was remote, where they called in to Michael Kramer and Kate Redding.
Yeah, that was a good panel.
And because they were talking about the process of recording and doing the audiobooks, and then they actually did a live reading of a section of the book, which was really cool.
It was on Friday. Yeah. It's cool.
It's also just not fair that Michael Kramer's resting voice is that.
Oh gosh. He has trained his voice like to be that way.
It was also just interesting to hear how they got their start, and how but for both of them, going into audiobooks was an accident.
Well, didn't she work for the Library of Congress or something?
Yeah.
Doing recordings for them?
Yeah, she was doing recordings for the Library of Congress, which are just like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's a little different.
And
well, like I've heard of voice actors, like people start working as voice actors and then they move into narration. But it's just a very interesting path of, I'm going to go work for the Library of Congress. I'm going to record some stuff for them and then become Brandon Sanderson's go-to, female voice reader.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting for them because they talked about how they knew someone who was in that field, and because they're kind of in the same area and they were sort of doing similar stuff, they were just sort of like, hey, have you ever considered doing this? And it's like, not really. And it's like, come for a reading. And, it changes their life. Plus, it's just interesting to kind of like hear them talk about how they both have their own individual recording booths at their home. And she was talking about how, because they get the book way early, obviously, because they got to record all the audio. And so they don't know what happens till they get it. And then she sees that she has half the lines for book 5 that he does. And she's like, sweet. Like, she's just like, I'm going to have so much free time. He's going to be recording.
Well, especially because they had a very tight deadline.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm going to get mine done. And then just sort of laugh because they're each other's sound engineers as well.
Yeah. Which didn't know that.
But apparently because you can't have the fan on when you're recording, the booth gets very, 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 very hot. And so she's like, I don't have to sit in that hot booth the whole time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's dying.
Yeah.
He feels everything Dalinar's feeling.
I also really liked was it the keynote speech that Brandon did where he was talking about not gatekeeping and all of that. And
it was an interesting talk because it wasn't from the angle I think a lot of people take that that topic. It was more about bringing people in rather than and I like the proactive nature of how Brandon likes to really push that, because a lot of people turn that into this negative thing, and in him he turns it into the positive of there's someone like, go a little outside your comfort zone, because that's what people did for me when I was a kid.
Yeah. And I mean, and just I'm not a big romantasy reader, but I've read some, and there is definitely a sort of stigma that a lot of people have towards it. They're like, oh, it's just romance. You know, it's just like, oh, why would you want to read that? That isn't real reading. And reading is for fun, is for education. It's for multitudes of reasons. You don't have to read. Like, I purposely have some books in my bookshelf that I'm like, this is my junk food book. I know it doesn't go super deep in the plot or the character or whatever else, but I just like, I almost want to like giggle and drink a soda and kick my feet and eat some popcorn as I read it. You know, like it's that kind of book. Like, it's just entertaining, and there's nothing wrong with finding books just entertaining.
Well, and that was
both of you. Jordan first mocks where Charlie got her start in writing, and now Charlie's mainly a romantasy writer, and Amy just says that's not real reading. So I personally think Charlie's a fine human being, and I don't understand the aspersions you're casting upon my friend.
I stand
not
with wit.
saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, there.
Amy, I know.
I know.
Oh, we got Demon Amy for a brief moment.
No, my children and I will do demon voices back at each other. It's fine. But no,
no
like,
red flags.
And I've been trying to get all my TikTok stuff off because of TikTok maybe going away. And I've seen a lot of different videos of like romantasy people and stuff being like, oh, Sanderson said, what about romantasy? Yeah, I think I'm going to go pick up Mistborn now. And so he's gotten a lot of people starting reading Mistborn and other books of his simply because they're like, no, he's a stand-up guy. He's not.
He's defending us.
He's defending us and saying, no, that's real reading. It's fine. If they like it, let them like it.
Well, and I think it's
join us and whatever. It's fine.
I think it's also especially, I don't know what's the word, cogent. I don't know, something like that, because especially now with so many new authors mixing genres in a way that didn't used to, like, they're inventing genre crossovers that just didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And so if you're, it's what's the one true Scotsman fallacy or whatever it's called, where it's like only a real Scotsman does X or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of fighting that instinct.
If you like fantasy, you like fantasy. If you like sci-fi, you like sci-fi. If you like romantasy, you like romantasy. It's fine. You can, and it doesn't mean that if you like just romantasy, then there's anything wrong with that. But if you happen to like romantasy and epic fantasy and sci-fi and there's, you should just enjoy what you enjoy. You shouldn't feel limited by the fact that you started with Harry Potter or with Fourth Wing or with whatever else you may have started with.
I don't think I've heard that one. What's Fourth Wing?
It is a Dragon Riders Pern, but more romancy. I haven't read it, but I've heard the plot. So that's the very rough summary. So,
but no, it's just one of those things that, well, I can't believe I got, like, my sister. She's fully caught up on the Cosmere and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
oh wow.
At least I think actually she might have some of the secret projects not done.
Has she read Wind and Truth already?
Oh, sorry. Before Wind and Truth, she was fully caught up. That's right. I need to tell her she can now listen to Wind and Truth now that I'm done.
No, my husband and my daughter haven't read Wind and Truth yet, so I've had to keep it very like quiet about that. I'm like, there are things, but I can't say more. So
cool.
Yeah.
No. Convention's awesome. People should definitely go at least once.
Yeah, it's definitely a good convention.
It was very fun, and we're sorry not everybody could go. I mean, it'd be hard to fit all the fandom.
Ironically, next year it'll probably not be quite as high demand because it's not the last book in an arc of Stormlight. And also they'll probably have a bigger space. So
hopefully,
I think more people next year will be able to attend, and for both of those reasons.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to it just because everyone should try it at least once.
It's great.
Now,
I'm really glad that I've been able to go every year.
Yeah, we're biased. Like when you got, that was my favorite thing to do with the the passport, where it's like, check off all the ones you've attended. It's just like boom, 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 all of them.
Yep.
We're awesome.
All of them. Yeah.
Yep.
We're the cool kids club.
I had a booth the first year. Go me. Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably start wrapping up. We love hearing from our listeners, so please keep sending in your questions. You can also ask us about the Cosmere. You can drop us your ideas for topics you'd like us to discuss during the show. And while you're at it, we would love to hear your feedback about how you think we're doing, as well as any interesting theories you might have about what's going on in the Cosmere, because there's going to be a lot right now. You could send all your questions and suggestions in a brief, concise email to cosmerestudies@gmail.com, and hopefully we'll get a chance to read that as part of the show. You can also reach us at the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, P.O. Box 970063, Orem, Utah 84097. We do have our own personal projects that we work on outside the show, so Amy, why don't you lead us off and let us know what you've got going on right now?
I'm just basically going to be trying to actually post the stuff that I haven't posted. But my Facebook is Coincidence Cosplay and Props. My Twitter is @CoincidenceCosp because my name is too long. My Instagram is @Coincidence_Cosplay. My TikTok is @Coincidence Cosplay, all one word. And who knows how long, if that'll still stick around or not. And my website is www.coincidencecosplay.com. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff that I just haven't posted because for whatever reason, I'm terrible at posting, but I'm going to keep trying to work on that. So it's going to be random, whatever's on there. So we'll see. But I mean, my main projects I'm going to be trying to do is doing my Mando finally, and hopefully making Helldivers for my husband and I. So yeah.
Ooh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
He said he'd actually dress up.
Whoa.
Again, he did it once, and now he's like, yeah, I'd probably wear that with you. And I'm like, okay, I got to do it. So
I think that was the most Amy noise I've ever heard.
For democracy. Anyway.
That's awesome.
For managed democracy.
All right. And
Yes.
Jordan, how about you?
When I'm not spreading managed democracy, you can find me at twitch.tv/splicestream, where I do sometimes spread managed democracy. Recently tried out Marvel Heroes, enjoyed that. Really has that old school Overwatch feel to it. Also been kind of shocked. I've been playing Path of Exile 2. Never expected that to happen, but someone got me to try it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's my first time really messing around with the Diablo-like, so
Okay.
it's been fun.
I played, what was it? Torchwood several years back, but yeah, I haven't really gotten into Diablo-like other than that.
Yeah, the thing I like about Path of Exile 2 is it's one of those games that does a good job of, you start off just being like, okay, this is how this attack goes. Oh, but if I start going down this path on the talent tree, and it really starts like you have all these builds in your mind of how it could work. And then you get an item that gives you something new and you're like, oh, wait, could I? And then it just really lets you be creative with how you want to play. And I really like it.
Cool. All right. And then as for myself, I'm going to promote another podcast that Jordan runs, but I take part in it from time to time. Unfortunately, I had to miss the most recent episode, which is a shame because it was actually a topic that I have a lot of stuff to say about it. But anyway, the show is called I Think We Overleveled. And essentially it's just Jordan and a bunch of his, college buddies, including myself, reminiscing, complaining, griping, being old men about the good old days of gaming. Basically, yeah, just a bunch of middle-aged nerds geeking out together.
Yeah.
Not old men. Lizzie shows up as well, and she was in the most recent episode.
Yeah, where we discussed I really liked the concept. So I can't remember who came up with it, but it was
I think it might have been me, which is why I'm a little bit.
I thought it was Mithril, but I could be wrong.
It may have been.
But the whole point was it was just discussing the games you settled for because they were there.
The games you played because that's what was available.
And for everyone, it was slightly different.
I have so many answers for this one.
Luckily, that's pretty fertile ground, so we might get back to that topic again later.
I hope so. Anyway, but yeah, you can find that on Jordan's YouTube, youtube.com/splice stream. We record that on Wednesday nights at the same time as this podcast normally airs. So,
yep. So after you listen to the fresh download, you can come over and listen to us live.
Exactly. All right. Well, for those of you who want to support the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, but you can't become a patron, we would love it if you would let your friends know about the show. Please spread the word. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to like and subscribe over on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. If you want to toss us a good review wherever you listen to us, or if you want to comment in the comment section of the YouTube videos, we would absolutely love that as well. Okay, final thoughts.
It was really fun. And I was so sad to not, like, I was really tired the day after, but I was like, but all the people, I just want to keep hanging out with them.
I will admit, I was so tired this year because in previous years, it's only been 2 days and they extended it to 3 days this year.
And we sat down most of those days.
I was starting to flag at the end of the day too. And I was just like, oh, there's a whole other day to go.
Yeah, I never considered I needed to get into convention shape, but I'm going to get into convention shape.
It's so much fun. You're just running on fumes. Third day, it's great.
You say that like it's a positive, but
it's a weird thing, but I love it. Anyway, go ahead.
There's another podcast that I listen to. It's guys who are playing Final Fantasy 14, and the first time they went to Final Fantasy Fan Fest, which is their big convention, they were like, we got to get con ready. And so they had a Fit for Fan Fest channel on their Discord. So I think it's just because, at the convention, they're hoping to go to the hotel pool and they don't want to be embarrassed. So
they want to show off.
Yeah, thankfully there's not a hotel pool going on in the middle of November in Utah.
You don't know. There could be an indoor
ski
pool.
Resorts. Well, there's pools up there.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't think it's happened at our convention.
Yeah, well. In addition to the live episodes of the show that stream on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies every 2 weeks on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, listeners can find our videos on YouTube or audio versions of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about any other service that carries podcasts by searching for Cosmere Studies. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under the profile at Cosmere Studies. For the next episode, we're going to actually be taking another look at some of the prophecies from the Stormlight Archive and see how they fit together with the added context of the events of Wind and Truth. So make sure to join us in chat for the live discussion on Monday, January 27th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time at 10:30 p.m. Eastern at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. Until then, on behalf of Amy, Jordan, and myself, thanks for listening, and remember,
there's always another secret.
Boom.
All right. Well, I need to get to bed pretty quick because I signed up for some overtime tomorrow that got to start in the morning.
We do need to plan out some more episodes soon.
Indeed.
Yeah, so do we want to just talk in the host channel, I guess, later and figure out when we want to meet to talk?
Sure.
Okay, because I know things. I hope you guys had title ideas because I didn't have title ideas.
The two that I wrote down were "This is my sloppy outfit" and "Happy Wife, Happy Knife."
I like the second one.
You were proud of that one.
I'm not going to pretend I wasn't because I was.
I'll put it in.
Okay.
All right. Although I do like "This is my sloppy outfit."
That is fun too. Yeah. This is my sloppy outfit.
Anyway. All right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
We'll see you later. Sleep well.